How does a team that's spiraling out of control save itself from impending doom? Most franchises can't do this. Some do it over a very long period of time.
You're built for this. You're built for this, man. You know how hard it is to win this league in the playoffs? Do you understand what you're doing right now? What we're capable of?
The Detroit Lions did it in a snap of a finger, and they looked to their darkest hour, to their worst season ever, to the worst season for any team in NFL history, and that's where they found the solution. How could the answer be found within Detroit's biggest flaw? This is the gridiron. The Lions were the laughingstock of the NFL. They were bad in every way a team could be bad. They had some glory days with Barry Sanders making it to the NFC Championship, but that was the best they ever did. Entering the 2023 season, the Lions had never won a Super Bowl. What's worse is they're one of only 4 teams that has never even made it to a Super Bowl. After Barry Sanders, it was one heartbreaking season after another. They barely ever made it to the playoffs in the past 3 decades, and when they did, they were one and done. Their first 2 playoff games in the 2023-24 season were the first 2 playoff games they'd hosted in 30 years. It has been 32 years since the Lions have made the NFC Championship. Jared Goff, Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, they weren't even born yet. Dark years of no Super Bowl appearances, no hosted playoff games, no seasons to write home about. The Lions weren't just missing the playoffs, they were missing by a mile. Multiple 3-win seasons, multiple 2-win seasons, and the worst season any NFL franchise has ever had, being the first team to go 0-16, and they did so in horrendous fashion. Their fans were embarrassed by their team's constant lackluster performances. The city needed something to root for. In fact, among U.S. cities with populations over 50,000, Detroit has the 4th highest poverty rate. It's the city where Ford is. It's a blue-collar city that wanted to root for their boys in blue. They desperately needed a team that reflected their hard-nosed reputation, but the team was in such bad shape. They'd been trying new coaches and systems all the time. Who could they turn to? On January 21, 2021, the Detroit Lions made the best decision they've ever made.
All I think about is you guys. That's all I think about, man. That's all I think about is you guys and how I set you up for the best possible advantage I can give you to have a season. I swear to you, man. I just need you to trust me. That's all. Please.
They hired Dan Campbell as coach. Now, when he first came aboard, a lot of people were skeptical about how it would work. His famous biting kneecap speech had people laughing. The Lions seemed destined to further themselves into the trash can of the NFL. What people didn't realize about Campbell when he delivered his passionate and strangely worded speech? He was authentic. Campbell wasn't saying what he thought everyone wanted to hear. He said what he felt. Football's a tough game. It's gritty, it's grimy, it's played in the mud. Dan Campbell loved that. Dan Campbell is from Clifton, Texas, and he was interested in sports as a kid, so his parents opted to send him to Glen Rose High School due to the opportunities there. He played on a football team as both a tailback and a tight end. Texas A&M noticed his talent and he became an Aggie, playing tight end. He excelled there, which was why in the 1999 draft, the Giants selected him in the 3rd round. Campbell had some decent years with the Giants. They loved to use all 6'5", 265 pounds of him in the blocking roles. When he moved on to Dallas, it was more of the same. In 2006, he moved on to Detroit, where he had his best season ever. He saw highs in receiving yards, 308, and in receiving touchdowns, 4. However, he then met with many injuries and didn't play much over the next 2 years in Detroit. But he did play in 2008, his last year in the league. And yes, that was the dreadful year of the 0-16 Lions. It may seem strange for a franchise to look at their worst season ever and pick a player of that team to lead them out of the darkness. But Campbell was a born leader. And really, what did the Lions have to lose? He became the coach after the Lions had endured 3 years in a row, finishing last in the NFC North, in putting together a measly record of 14-33-1 during that time. It wasn't all roses and sunshine when Campbell took over. His first year coaching, the 2021 season, the Lions achieved only a 3-13-1 record, and they were dead last in their division for a fourth straight year. It felt like Detroit was in store for more of the same. Plus, before the 2021 season, there was the trade between the Lions and Rams, where the Detroit favorite Matt Stafford was sent to LA in exchange for Jared Goff, a third-round 2021 pick, and first-round picks in 2022 and 2023. The overall feeling in the football world was that Jared Goff wasn't good enough to lead the Rams to win a Super Bowl. The feeling about Stafford was that he was great, but he suffered from being part of a horrible franchise. Those feelings were intensified when Stafford went to the Rams and instantly won a Super Bowl. And Goff struggled in Detroit. He got traded away like an afterthought along with those picks. One of their picks in 2021, the 7th overall pick, was right tackle Penei Sewell. Now, people knew he was an extreme talent, but many were screaming for the Lions to draft a different position to help their depleted team, ideally a skill position player. The Lions were able to steal Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round. They saw potential that many others didn't think was quite there. But Campbell and the Lions organization remained steadfast. The Lions remained confident in Goff, in their picks in Sewell and St. Brown, and confident they could turn those future picks into players to help their team. With the 2nd overall pick in 2022, the Lions got the Michigan star, defensive end Aiden Hutchinson. Through another trade, the Lions also selected wide receiver Jameson Williams 12th overall. Jameson Williams took a while to come along, but became a key player on the team. Hutchinson was a difference maker immediately. The Lions started off 1-3, but they were in every game. In those 3 losses, they only lost by a combined score of 10 points. However, Week 5, they lost to the Patriots in embarrassing fashion, 29-0. After a bye week, they lost to Dallas 24-6. Oh no, Detroit had seen this before. After a loss to the Dolphins in Week 8, the Lions fell to 1-6. Most teams would start to pack it up and get ready for Cancun at this point. But the Lions turned it around, winning their next 3 games. After that, there was another 3-win streak. Soon, under Dan Campbell's leadership, the team gained confidence. They wound up 8-8 and had a chance to make the playoffs. They needed a win and for other things to happen to get that final playoff spot. They did beat their division rival Packers to finish the season 9-8, but those other things didn't happen, so they still missed the playoffs again. The Lions carried the second-half success of 2022 into the 2023 season. Jared Goff continued playing better and better. Amon-Ra St. Brown had solidified himself as a number 1 receiver, and the team had acquired David Montgomery. In addition to that, they used their 12th and 34th picks in the 2023 draft to get running back Jahmyr Gibbs and tight end Sam Laporta. A lot of people criticized the Lions for drafting a running back so high, and not many people thought Laporta would turn out to be a star either. But their 2 rookies combined for 20 touchdowns in the 2023 season. The Lions even opened the season against the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs and won. They kept rolling through the season with confidence and grittiness instilled by their coach Dan Campbell. Last year, their first 7 games had them at 1-6. This year, they were 5-2, and the momentum continued. They won the NFC North with a 12-5 record and secured the number 3 seed in the NFC. Jared Goff, the quarterback that the Rams threw away, finished with 4,575 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, and only 12 interceptions. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta each had 10 receiving touchdowns. The 12th pick, used for a running back that people scoffed at, Gibbs, had 10 touchdowns and 945 yards. And that's to go along with Montgomery's 13 touchdowns and 1,015 rushing yards. To have 2 running backs nearly go for 1,000 yards rushing and each have double-digit touchdowns, the franchise is doing something right in their draft selection process. In a pass-happy league, the Lions haven't forgotten the importance of running the ball and dominating the line of scrimmage with their top 5 offensive line led by Penei Sewell. The Lions turned their joke of an organization around in just a few years. 2021 was pivotal, hiring Dan Campbell to set the culture, drafting Sewell to bolster that offensive line, and seeing the potential in Jared Goff and St. Brown. In 2022, they drafted Williams and Hutchinson, key pieces to their team. In 2023, they drafted Gibbs and Laporta, more key pieces. It didn't happen in 1 year, and it didn't happen with one move or one draft. But the Lions put together a plan that shifted the entire world's perception of their team. They finally got back into the playoffs. They've been winning playoff games, and it looks like they are here to stay.